Welcome to the program now, the Central District Transportation Commissioner, Commissioner Willie Simmons. Hey, Commissioner, good to see you again, sir.
Good morning, Gerard. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed your talk this past week at the Madison County Business League and Foundation Transportation Update. You and Executive Director of the Department of Transportation, Brad White. Very informative. Really appreciate that, sir. Give us a bit of an update from the Central District here. What's going on?
Brad, again, let me thank you and being in Madison County. We've done a lot of good things. Let me just start by saying having Brad White as our executive director and 2,700 employees, we own a pathway to doing great things. Thanks to the legislative body, who has given us the largest budget that we have ever had, $1.4 billion. That with also the federal money that's coming down, which is about $1 billion over a 5-year period. So those dollars have put us in a position of being able to get out of just maintenance. And that's what we've been doing over the past decade and a half, not being able to build any capacity projects unless it was special funding from the federal government or the state legislature. But what we're doing now with the $450 million that the legislators gave us last year and the $35 million the year before, that's put us in the position of going back to building capacity projects. Here in the Central District or in the Neshoba County, we are moving towards completing 4-lane in Highway 19. We have the Flowers intersection over in Warren County on 220 on 20 that's in place. And we are currently looking at what we can do in addition to that on 20 over Vicksburg with the additional interchanges that's worse in the state of Mississippi and maybe the country. Madison County is moving. The reunion and the widening of Interstate 55. We're very pleased with the progress that we're making there. We'll put the reunion project on the LPA, which makes the Department of Transportation the lead entity in it. And we are also working in Rankin County to do the West Rankin Parkway and other projects there. So we're very pleased to have finished Highway 49 last year and opened it up. 200 plus $1 million project, but one that is much needed, and we're very pleased with it.
Yeah, so I'll just give a little kudos on certainly on that 49 stretch. I know which took a while for construction, but man, that sure is nice and smooth and enjoyable now. It's completely changed that route dramatically. So appreciate that.
Gerard, what was good about that one, the way in which it was designed and the way in which our staff worked it, with all those businesses right on the right of way.
Yeah.
We didn't have to uproot many of those businesses and expanded the lane so that you can move now going toward the coast and into Florence, Mississippi, much, much faster and safer.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So one of the things you shared, just talking about inside the district here, that you shared with us, you and Director White, at this event we had in Madison, was the stretch in Warren County along I-20 in need of, I guess, renovation and just upgrading. $1 billion, is that right? To fund that.
Yeah, yes, that gets me into talking about what our needs are.
Yeah.
We're talking about $8 billion over a long period of time. We don't need all that money at one time, but when we look at the capacity projects to include Interstate 20, the off ramps or interchanges, it's going to take coming from the river back over to Highway 27. Those interchanges to improve, we'll be looking at about $1 billion just in that area to do that. And it's something we're going to have to do. But we're working with the federal government now to do an assessment to see just exactly how we're going to work that to make it safe and be able to move the customers and the cargo going through that area. That's just one area. When you start looking at Madison County with Interstate 55, you're talking about another 150 or more $1 million as we look at what the needs are, especially when you see the growth that's going on in Madison County with Nissan being there, Amazon, and then the most recent project that was landed there. That's just going to add to the demands on Interstate 55 as well as Highway 463, 22, 16, Highway 51. So we're in the planning mode. as to how do we keep up with and build, because we've been out of building capacity projects for so long. We're really behind the block, so to speak, and going to have to catch up in order to keep our state growing.
Yeah. So the message I heard on this past Wednesday, Commissioner, was that you and the other commissioners and Director White are looking for an additional source of funds to cover the cost of both capacity and maintenance projects here in the state. That's what I heard, and
Yes,
I've heard some suggestions along those lines. Perhaps earmark some of the sales tax revenue that currently, of course, gets shared between the municipalities and the state, and maybe some other ideas as well. Was that accurate the way I described that message I heard Wednesday?
I'm rating you as a good spokesperson because you put on a good show every day in your communication and the way you were able to deliver. But you're a good listener also. You heard us exactly right in what you just explained. We need, going back to capacity, about $8 billion. We need somewhere in the neighborhood around 300 million a year to just help maintain what we have. So you can talk about $600 million for capacity and maintenance of our highways that are needed. Now, how we get there? We the commissioner, and I'm so grateful to have Commissioner Busby and Commissioner Caldwell, and we all three see the same thing, along with Brad and the staff and others, as to what those needs are. We have a 3-year plan that we pull from our Vision 21, which is what the legislature passed in 2002, I believe it was. That plan, when we look at the capacity projects over the state that we have put in the 3-year plan, we're talking about an $8 billion need. Now, how do we get that money? There's different ways that you can look at it. Currently, we are dealing with a diversion tax for the most part coming from our fuel tax that was put in 1987, 18 cents per gallon. Now, we don't get all of that money coming to the Department of Transportation, but we haven't seen that change since 1987. The only thing that we have seen where we have gotten additional money on a recurring basis is the lottery program that we put in during the special session in 2018. But also in that special session, when we did the lottery and capped it at $80 million, because we didn't think we was going to get over 50 million based upon what the experts was telling us. The
Right.
$80 million, and currently that fund is bringing in about 150 million, well, the rest of it goes to the Department of Education. But the divergent tax approach is a very good one. When we dealt with the lottery in 2018, we also created a program referred to as the use tax diversion, where we are sending money back to the counties and municipalities and state aid. Well, I'm pleased to report to you on today, when I looked at the last report, the payment that came in January, and the state make payments to the counties and municipalities twice a year, January and July. Since 2020, the municipalities have received about 352 million in divergent taxes. The municipalities have received about 352, and state aid about 118 million. So when you look at that, we're talking about over $800 million since 2020 that have gone through the divergent tax back to the counties. The counties and municipalities are getting about 15% of that use tax diversion. What we are saying to the legislators and to others, give the Department of Transportation a formula also, and it could be between 15 and 25% of that divergent use tax, because you have enough money left in that fund now that you could do that. If you did that, you could very well put us in receiving 250 to $300 million a year. Wouldn't be any taxes raised. It would just be the money coming from the divergent taxes sent over to the Department of Transportation and put into our infrastructure fund at FDA.
Okay. But of course, this would be less revenue available in the general fund for general fund spending. Correct, Commissioner?
Well, it wouldn't be available to be used in the general fund because you will have targeted in the same manner that you're doing with the counties and municipalities. You got to
I
remember
got you.
that we have a holistic transportation system, and transportation doesn't start at the state highways nor end. So if we're going to utilize the divergent tax formula and we're using that to direct
Yep.
money to the local government, we're saying let's look at doing the same thing at the state level and divert some of those use taxes to the Department of Transportation.
I got you. Commissioner, always good to talk to you, sir, and really appreciate all your efforts there at the Department of Transportation, and I'm sure we'll be talking some more. Take care, sir. Thank you.
You're right. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you.
Yes, sir. We're coming right back, folks, in the Element Wealth studio.